James, we did our predictions this past week, and both of us picked Liverpool to win. Shockingly, because obviously Liverpool are at Anfield, and Liverpool win at Anfield, especially against weaker football teams. They lost 2-1 to Leeds United. And it kind of starts to beg the question, what I should say is, I'm going to rephrase this because I don't want to come across like too dramatic. It opens the door, it turns the handle, it unlocks the door for Klopp to maybe leave, right? I'm not saying he should be pushed out the door or he should walk out himself, but, you know, we're starting to think about asking the question. This, to me, is undoubtedly one of the best 4 managers in the world today. But I guess the question I want to ask you here, and, you know, maybe we'll spend 5-10 minutes on this, like, how much does historic success give you in like kind of a bank account of keeping your job when performances don't go well, right? So Sir Alex Ferguson left on a high. He won the league, right? It's a beautiful way to go out. Everybody's dream would be to go out that way. But how bad would Manchester United have to be for how long before a manager as great as Sir Alex Ferguson would get pushed out the door? Arsene Wenger did an unbelievable job to a certain extent, you know, with a lack of funding compared to the other teams and all this kind of stuff, to maintain this level of success with Arsenal for a length of time that he did. How long could Arsenal underperform until he gets pushed out the door? And I would ask the same with Klopp. This is a Premier League title-winning manager. Okay, I think maybe he should have probably won more in the 7 years that he's had. But it's also a Champions League winning manager for Liverpool Football Club. But here they are. I want to say they're sat in 9th position at the moment. Champions League group, fine. They're second. Obviously, they've got a huge game, Napoli, at the moment. But James, I just want to ask you, unless these performances turn around, does Klopp have till the end of the year? Does he have this year and next year? Or do you think it's maybe even less time than that?
I don't think it's a thing where Liverpool should ever consider sacking Jürgen Klopp. I think Jürgen Klopp will go out when he wants to go out. I think he's earned the right to. People, Arsene Wenger's one. People can say he was sacked. I think it was a mutual consent thing. Obviously, right. Ferguson went out where when he wanted to. When you reach a certain stage with a club, I like to believe that you earn the right to kind of do your thing. And I feel like Liverpool are grateful for what Klopp has been able to do for them.
Yeah.
My biggest thing with football is that it's football's about what you do for me lately and what you're doing for me now. And I do think that we're a little bit reactionary. Liverpool are like having a bad season. But for us to point the finger at Klopp and say, do you deserve to be Liverpool manager? I think it's crazy and beyond. Like, to me, this is beyond a discussion. You know, do I believe Klopp have the ability to push Liverpool and go again? I think yes. You know, like, you look at what Klopp was able to achieve at Liverpool. Jack, as you said, to a certain point, he's underachieved. But just remember, Jack, last season he signed like an extra 3-year deal. His family's happy here. They're all happy here.
Right.
And I think Liverpool fans overall, they would not want to see the back of Jürgen Klopp, because you look back, and Jack, you always ask this question. Biggest thing for me when you talk about managers leaving, who will replace him?
Absolutely. I still stand by that. Yeah. Who comes in? Seriously, and I'd ask you that question now. Like, who's coming into this job that's going to do an equal or better job with the squad in the way it is at the moment?
The only one I would think about was maybe Thomas Tuchel. That's probably the only thing that would come to mind. But I just look at the Klopp argument, and I just think that is the furthest thing away. There's other things to be addressed in Liverpool. I think Klopp is kind of the last thing that you can mention. The one thing I would say about Jürgen Klopp that might be a thing is maybe not, let's say, holding his players accountable to what happens on a football field.
Right.
In the times when I hear him and he's talking about different excuses and all that sort of stuff there, instead of saying, "Oh, listen, we didn't play well."
Yeah. Of
course, a manager is never going to call out his players publicly, and I'm pretty sure he's doing it in the background. But at times, it just feels sometimes he doesn't hold his team and the standard of his players accountable.
It's one of those bittersweet things for him, I think, where He deflects from the players, so the players are always protected, right? Which is really great. You always want that because you want what's best for your players, and especially with the modern player, you know, lots of people will say, you know, well, they can't take criticism. The modern player, the new generation, right? Millennials, Gen Z, etc., etc. So I kind of give him credit for that, but there does have to be a point where you need to stand up, take accountability when you're not playing well. James, I agree with like basically everything you've said there. I think that if we were to pinpoint the issues at Liverpool Football Club right now, I think that injuries are a real problem. I don't know what the medical team are doing, physios, doctors. I don't know what the deal is there, because Liverpool and injuries has been kind of synonymous over the last like couple of years or so. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe it's something with the training. The recruitment I also look at. Now, I don't pretend to know the ins and outs of what Jürgen Klopp has signed off on and what Jürgen Klopp wants to do in terms of who he wants to bring in. Like, you know, did Jürgen Klopp, you know, was he going to, you know, fall on his sword for Darwin Núñez? I would say probably not. I think that's a pickup from somewhere else in the organisation. So I don't think the recruitment has been brilliant. And yet again, the allocation of funds I just don't think has been brilliantly spent lately. James, they've got this guy called Arthur, who's played for Juventus, who's played for Barcelona, who's actually quite a nice player. But he's not been fit and he's not played. Darwin Núñez has not come and hit the ground running like I think they were hoping to. You know, the new Mo Salah contract, you know my criticisms of that. It's too much money for a guy, you know, that I think it's money better spent, you know, elsewhere. It would be better. And I don't know. I look at other aspects around the club for Jürgen Klopp. What I will say though, and you and I both know this, manager's always the scapegoat. So I guess the reason why I'm asking the question is you and I may all both agree, and I'm sure we do, like, you know, this is not a Jürgen Klopp problem, but if the results aren't going the way, everybody's going to look at the fact, oh, it's the manager, and it's like, guys, it really isn't. I'm telling you that now.
But Jack, my biggest thing when I look at Liverpool, and you have to look at the squad, and like you have to look at the team. You have to see, okay, why are teams getting at Liverpool?
Right.
Last season, Jack, I could count 6-7 games where it took a missed chance on the opposition end and Liverpool go back the other way and score. It's not like Liverpool weren't conceding chances. The difference is that teams are now taking their chances now. Jack, I remember the game against Nottingham Forest in the League Cup where Nottingham Forest had a guilty chance to win the game. They missed. Liverpool go down the other end and like Diego Jota scored. It happens like that in the Arsenal game. Lacazette had a great opportunity to score. He doesn't take it. Liverpool go down the other end and score. Maybe it's two things. Obviously, I don't think Liverpool were great defensively because they were always open and they always conceded opportunities. But it's back the other way. They're not as ruthless as what they used to be, you know. And my biggest thing with Klopp right now is that the Darwin Núñez thing is hanging over Liverpool team's head. Because I'm not saying Darwin Núñez has been a bad signing for Liverpool, but it's almost like look at a player like Roberto Firmino, Jack. Let's look at the season. Let's be truthfully honest. He's been one of Liverpool's best performers this year. And it's almost like Liverpool are trying to push him out the way so like they can fit Darwin Núñez in. But Firmino still performing at a high level. It's almost like, what are we going to do here with him? Are we sure, like, we were trying to get rid of him, we're trying to have him be a bit part player, but he should be starting ahead of Darwin Núñez. And
James, football should be a meritocracy. You're a coach, somebody trains well, somebody plays well, they should be in the team. There should not be any other factors surrounding that create problems. You know, again, to your point, James, as well, Ibrahima Konate, you talked about that kind of ruthless defensive side of the game. He's played one game this year, James. You know, this was the guy who was going to take over from Matip. This was going to be the guy who's going to pair with Virgil van Dijk until Van Dijk moves on, and then somebody else needs to come in to be paired with Konate. James, just to kind of sorry, go ahead.
One last thing, and I feel like the biggest thing that we have to mention here is Liverpool's midfield. Because, well, listen, we like Liverpool's midfield. Jordan Henderson's been great for Liverpool.
Yes.
Fabinho's been great for Liverpool. But let's be truthful, man. I don't think that they're at it at the same level like they used to be. I look at someone like Thiago Alcantara. Jack on the ball, incredible. Most games I watch Liverpool, he's bossing the midfield, but off the ball, I do believe that he needs people around him to help support him, especially with the way how Liverpool are and how Liverpool can be open in transition. They're very used to getting people to move about and win that ball back. And we know how great Jordan Henderson was that, and especially Fabinho. But those two players' level have dropped.
Yep.
And you look around them, is that Harvey Elliott gonna have the same influence like
Naby
Jordan
Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Artem. You know, a lot of these guys, it's
I haven't
injuries.
even seen him. Like Naby Keita, I don't know what's going on with him. I feel like the biggest thing for Liverpool, I mentioned going forward, but Jack, that midfield, something needs to happen there. It's
And James, I think, you know, this was something I touched on a lot. The reason why the defence was so good, and this was, you know, one of my criticisms for Virgil van Dijk as to why I didn't think he deserved the amount of credit he was getting. The midfield put in such work to make sure that all he had to do was his bit, and then he was golden, right? And that midfield is not going at the same level. James, just to finish off, it's a huge week for Liverpool. 8 p.m. today, Napoli. At Anfield, obviously the last game they played was at Anfield. They lost to Leeds United. Napoli, trust me, I watched Napoli beat Roma recently. Victor Osimhen is on an absolute tear. He's a nightmare to play against. The Napoli team are on somewhat of a roll at the moment. That's going to decide whether they go to the top of their group or not. And James, Sunday, 4:30, going to Tottenham. Now, as much as you might think, oh, it's a good time to play Tottenham, you know, results are kind of there, but the performances aren't. Great time to play Tottenham. Tottenham are going to be looking at it and going, great time to play Liverpool. Feeling pretty good about this, especially at home. This is a huge, huge week for Liverpool. You've got then afterwards one more Premier League game, an EFL Cup third round game against Derby County, and then we're on to the World Cup. And again, God forbid there are any more major injuries at Liverpool, because Jürgen Klopp, it may not be looking so good.
Yeah, I feel like with Liverpool right now is just get themselves to the World Cup. Just let's just find a way to just get a few results, get ourselves to the World Cup, get our players to kind of go away, get their heads cleared off. Mo Salah's going to rest, a few players are going to have a rest there. And once they come back, maybe the second half of the season, they can just go crazy and go on like the runs that we know that they're capable of, Jack.
What I will say as well, just to round off here as well, and I think we've gone on a little longer, my fault mainly, but we've gone on longer maybe than we should have for this one. Guys, they come back for the, you know, after Christmas Day is the first game back. It's the 26th of December. And then, you know, guys, we're less than a week away from the January transfer window. And obviously they spent a lot of time in the summer, but this squad could do with some reinforcements. There's an aging squad. There are some key components of this squad that are 30 and above now and that need some reinvestment. It's time for Liverpool, stick or twist with Jürgen Klopp. You've heard it from me and James. They should stick with him. This is one of the best managers in the world, and it's not his fault that we are where we are. Let us know what you guys think in the comments section below. Drop a like on the video as well. Make sure you subscribe. Should have said that at the beginning of the video, really. It's bad on my part. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Drop them down in the comments. We love interacting with you guys. And until next time, we'll see you.